To a lot of people, Wall Street is a hopelessly complicated ball of facts, figurines, projections, finance. Scandalous has recently been added to the description of Wall Street. Peter's talking to the author of a book that explains.
I'm talking to Douglas France. Now, Douglas has written a book called Levine and Company, Wall Street Insiders Trading Scandal. We'll show you the book in a minute. Dennis Levine is the principal character in this book, if I don't mistake myself, but it's all involved in the Ivan Boesky scandal, and the whole thing kind of fits together like pieces of a puzzle. Douglas, can you explain what the beginning was here?
Yeah, I like to think of it as a line of dominoes, and Dennis Levine was the first domino to fall, and when he fell, he ratted on everybody who had been involved with him, including Ivan Boesky, and Ivan Boesky, when he fell, ratted on a string more, and we haven't seen the end of this scandal yet, I think.
The dominoes are still falling?
I think so. I think we're going to see some more fall before the end of the year.
One of the things that really interested me about this was that $40,000 started the whole thing. $40,000 that Dennis Levine had. He said he was one of the best con men, or the best con men he ever knew, or something like that.
Yeah.
And that $40,000 was parlayed into $12.6 million.
It's a great return on your money. In a little over 5 years, he turned 40 grand into $12.5 million, and an extravagant lifestyle to boot.
Now, by being crooked, I'm assuming.
Absolutely, by being crooked. What he was a young investment banker who had access to confidential information about upcoming mergers and acquisitions. And he used an account in the Bahamas to trade secretly on that information. What happens with the merger or acquisition is the stock in the target company inevitably goes up a lot when the deal is announced publicly. If you can buy that stock before the public announcement, you get it when it's still low, then you sell after the announcement, you can make a lot of money, yeah. $12.5 million.
So let's say Dennis Levine is a con man. I think everybody pretty much admits that. So Dennis is a con man, but it takes those other people who can be manipulated, who have the greed or whatever it takes to go along, that on the surface are honest businessmen.
Sure.
What happens?
That's what con men always do. They find the greedy little spot in all of us, and if you're a master the way Dennis Levine was, you know how to manipulate that spot. He found 4 fellow investment bankers and a takeover lawyer who joined his sophisticated insider ring, began providing him with information, in some cases trading on it themselves. And he found weak spots in these men, and he ultimately found a weak spot in Ivan Boesky, who was the most prominent and perhaps one of the wealthiest stock speculators in America. He's a master con who found those spots and pushed the right buttons.
The big question for somebody like I am, I do not have a lot of money in the market, mostly because I don't feel like I know enough to make the right decisions and not get snookered. Can this happen again?
Sure, it can happen again. It's going on right now. I mean, Wall Street is not a level playing field. It's tilted in favor of the big guys, the insiders like Dennis Levine. It's going on now, and the reason people aren't outraged is because we're in a bull market and there's enough to go around.
Okay, let me hold the book up so we can get a picture of it. Oh, there it is, right over there. Okay, that's the book, so when you go to the bookstore, if you're interested, you can see it. Douglas, thanks for coming in. This is one of those things that is going to raise more questions than it delivers answers, I gather. Am I correct in that?
There's a message here. The message is that Wall Street needs to change, and the big question is how they're going to do it and whether Wall Street is willing to change.
You give an answer?
Yeah, I think that Wall Street has to change. They have to instill ethics and standards in the people who are working there, and greed has to be not the driving force on Wall Street that it is today.
Something desired, but not necessarily right around the corner.
No, it's going to be very tough, but we have to begin at some point.
Douglas France, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Julie?